Hello again, YouTube, and I'm back with kind of like an update. And in this video here, this little update, I show that I've decided to utilize the Midnite Classic 250's auxiliary output, and just kind of let you see it here if you can. This is the auxiliary output right here. These two screws are auxiliary 2, and those two screws are auxiliary 1. And I'm using auxiliary 1 for my relay output, and auxiliary 2 is for my Whiz Bang Junior. The other thing that I had to configure was these two jumpers here. And these two jumpers either indicate that I'm just going to operate this particular switch or this auxiliary contact as a dry contact relay where I have to provide my own power to the circuit, or I configure it to where the Classic will provide power up to 15 volts to the circuit, to my relays. So I've configured it in such a way that if you see it's 3 pins on each row, and the first 2 pins are shorted out. So I'm going to supply power down to my relay. And I decided not to go with the dry contact on the the Connex COM box, because I wanted to utilize Modbus as opposed to the web page, which it was fine, it worked, but at least the Midnite Classic actually gave me the ability to utilize Modbus, and so I decided to go that route. Now, one other thing, I modified my application here. I added another screen, and just to kind of give you an idea what it does is, as soon as I hit the screen, this will go up, and that red light over there will come on, indicating that that contact is energized. And if I hit it again, it goes off. So it took me pretty much all day to figure out what Modbus address to use. I called up tech support, and they were not able to help me, so I had to figure it out on my own. But it took all day, but hey, it was all right. I did figure it out, obviously. And so what I did was I rewired my relays. You see here, I decided to use the cover that comes with that came with the box, the circuit breaker box, and I just put this insulating tape on the front and to cover up the hole, and I covered the entire back of it with insulating tape, a thick layer of insulating tape, so that the relay contacts won't come in contact with the inside cover here to short out or arc or something like that. I've also decided to utilize this little monitoring screen that I had when I was doing AC coupling. It was just sitting there not doing anything, so I decided to incorporate that as well. So it's not the prettiest setup, but it is an effective setup. So right now what I've got to do is I've obviously got to put the cover back on and button it up and re-energize the system as a whole, and see what happens. Okay, all right, stand by, and I'll get back with you. Okay, YouTube, I'm back, and here I show as far as my inverter status is right now. It's AC pass-through, and the charger status AC good. So at this point, I'm not in hybrid mode or off-grid, and I've buttoned up or reattached all of the attachments here to the Classic here. Let's take a look. And if you look here, it's in the evening. It's about 5:10 in the evening. So there's really not a lot of power coming in, obviously, since it's evening time. 10 amps according to the trimetric. Battery bank is full. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate exactly what I've done. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come over here, and I'm going to select my grid relay control, and right now I'm connected to the power grid, And you can see here as far as the input power coming in from the utility. And so I'm going to hit the button. And also I want you to note is the Whiz-Bang Junior will actually tell you if the, not the Whiz-Bang, but the Classic will tell you if the auxiliary contact is activated as well. So I'm going to hit the button. Okay, I don't know if you heard that sound. So I should be now off the grid. Let's take a look at what the Connex is telling me. So I am off the grid, and so the switch does work. And if you look here, you'll see where it says AUX1. So the auxiliary contact is working. So I am off grid. Now, to keep it from going into charge mode when I go back on grid, I'm going to go to the AC grid support control. I'm going to turn that on. And I'm going to come back to the grid relay control, and I'm going to turn it off. So I turn it off. I go back to the Connex to find out exactly what's going on here. And it should kick in shortly, which is now. And now it kicked in. So now I can control everything from this particular application as I wanted to. So that works out great. That works out just fine. And this meter right here, essentially, all it's doing is telling me that, you know, there is power on that circuit. So we're good to go. And right now I'm not really pulling anything. I need to switch out or you know, basically get off the grid as far as at my main panel. Hold on one second, YouTube, and I'll show you that as. Okay, YouTube, here you see I have two panels here, two circuit breaker panels. This is my main panel with all of my 240 volt circuits. As you can see right here, this is utility mains. And this is my 120 volt circuit panel. And whenever I do work on this system, I shut off, you know, all power to that solar, to the solar system. And this is the backfeed break. This is the breaker right here. This is a 30 amp breaker that I utilize to send power back to the input side of my inverter. So when I took out that other circuit breaker, I wasn't really losing anything because I have a circuit breaker for protection here. And so coming over here, now right now I have it set to where all of the power is coming in from the utility. So what I need to do is switch this, and now all the power is being passed through from my solar. Also, just wanted to highlight that, you know, it's pretty important to have some type of lightning protection or surge protection. And here I have three, you know, I think of this as 3 levels of surge protection. I have it here, you know, for power coming in from the from my inverter charger. I also have circuit protection or surge protection here, and I also have another whole house surge protection in the main breaker behind the panel. So right now I'm back on solar, and let's go take a look at what it's saying. Okay, I'm back here, and you can see right now I'm on like grid support, and right now I'm going to get off grid support, and I'm just going to go straight off grid. So now I am off grid. We should see that number climb or stay the same. Okay, let's see what the Connex is telling me, because I guess I'm not really using a whole bunch of power. So I'm off grid, and I'm not using, oh, okay, well I'm only using like just around 500 watts. And let's see, let's find out what the total, how much I'm pulling in. Okay, so I got about, okay, so I got 10 amps still, just under 10 amps still coming in. So if you add that plus you know, that right there. So essentially I'm pulling about close to like 20 amps, which is the norm about this time of day. So I got stuff going in and I got stuff going out, so it balances out, and my battery bank is fully charged, and I'm only pulling, so totally right where it says here amps to loads right there, so totally from all source, you know, I got 21 amps going to loads, but you know, I've only got 11 amps coming from the battery bank at just under 600 watts. Okay, all right. Well, thanks a lot for watching, YouTube. And if you have some questions, you know, leave some comments or something like that. Also, you know, working with Modbus and Modbus TCP, this is kind of like an advanced type topic. So there's some questions that I can answer for you, you know, quite easily, and there's some things that, you know, I can't because of the depth of you know, of knowledge that you have to understand what I'm saying, essentially. Modbus TCP is used in the industrial world every day. Okay, this is an industrial protocol, as I said before, and it's used every day. And I'm familiar with it. I work with it, and so I kind of know what I'm doing in that regard. So when I try to explain it to people, you know, if you're not really familiar with it, it's best to just kind of Google and say, you know, find out exactly what Modbus TCP is and what it requires, and kind of bone up on it. And then if you have specific questions, then I can help you. There was a question in relation to I forgot one of those inverters. And I'm sorry I haven't got back to the particular viewer that asked the question. It was one of those Ames type inverters or something like that. Something like an Evo something. Samlex, I think it's like a Samlex Evo 2024 or something like that. And I actually did some research for you. I looked it up. And yes, it says that you're able to, you know, it's actually confusing. It says that you can connect through Modbus, but you're not gonna connect the same way I'm connecting to Modbus. I'm connecting to Modbus through Modbus TCP, and this is a switch actually. This is an Ethernet switch, okay. And in order for you to, or for, you know, other folks that want to connect through something called RS485. That's another way of connecting to Modbus, but this is connecting through something called a serial connection. So you have to connect this up to the back of your serial port or COM port on the back of your computer, and you have to configure it and stuff like that. And that's a different animal. Okay, that is a different. It's not impossible to do, but it is a different animal. Now with the Samlex Evo 2024, I forgot what it was. If you're watching this video, I did research, and it says that you can connect through, or you should be able to connect through RS485. However, it was confusing because the documentation says it's reserved for future use. So that leads me to believe that whoever said that you can connect Modbus may not be telling you anything accurate, because again, you've got to connect through RS485, and you know that documentation said it was for future use. So in short, in order for you to connect to 485, you've got to have a computer with a serial port. Okay, most modern laptops do not come with a serial port, so you would have to utilize something called a USB to serial connect cable. Now, if you don't understand any of the terms that I'm using, you'll definitely have to look it up, Google it or something like that, because again, when you work with Modbus, this, you know, it's kind of like an advanced subject, but it's not hard to learn. Somebody once told me, you know, years ago when I was very young, he says, you know what, give me a book and I can learn anything. And I totally agree with that. Give me a book, okay, in this case right here, a Google web page, okay, or a PDF, and I can learn pretty much anything. And so you'll pretty much have to do that as well. So this is how some people connect through Modbus. It's called RS485. And this is how, you know, these are what is called the pinout, the terminal connections and stuff like that. And you'd have to read how to do that. Okay. All right. Take care, YouTube.